Hey everybody, it's David Lenevue with Rockmore Wealth Management, and we're going to continue our discussion on personal disability policies today. Now, we're going to talk about two very important topics when it comes to personal disability contracts. And the first one has to do with the contract itself, because in the Canadian marketplace, generally there's two types of contracts that exist for disability products. And the first one I'm going to talk about is the one that I would generally recommend if you can qualify for it. And the type of contract is called a non-cancelable, guaranteed renewable to age 65 contract. And what this simply means is it prevents the insurance company from coming in and canceling your disability contract, because that can happen. And it also prevents them from changing the pricing or the premiums on your contract. Because the other type of contract that exists in the marketplace can potentially be a cancelable and or non-guaranteed renewable to age 65. And what this simply means is the insurance company does reserve the right to cancel your insurance contract, and or they can change the pricing. And it's very important that you understand what type of contract you purchase so you don't have any surprises in the future when you actually need this coverage. Now, the other item I wanted to talk to you guys about today is one of the options you can pick within your disability contract, because there are many different options or riders that you can add to your contract. And a couple of them are extremely important that you understand how they work and that you include them in your contract. Because remember, when it comes to disability, you are building a product, and the stronger you build it, the better coverage you're going to have. Now, yes, some of these options are going to increase the price, but they're well worth the dollar. And let me explain this first one to you, because when it comes to disability, generally there's three types of definitions of disability within a contract. And let's take a look at a typical group contract provided through your employer for disability. Now, if you look in the terminology of the contract, it's going to say, all right, if you get disabled after the waiting period, you will have what's called a regular occupation definition of disability. And that simply means that if you cannot do the substantials or regular duties of your occupation and not working anywhere else, the disability company is going to pay you. However, that generally changes after 2 years or maybe 5 years into your disability payments. Because after 2 or 5 years, the insurance company is going to look and they're going to say, hey guys, listen, we know you're disabled and we've been paying you for 2 or 5 years, but we really want you to get back in the workforce. And hey, we're actually going to pay to help retrain you and get you back in the workforce. And it's important that we do so, because after the end of your 2-year or 5-year regular occupation period, the definition of disability changes. And it goes from regular occupation to any occupation. And this is an important differentiation, because now what it states is, can you do the duties of any occupation? Because if you can, the insurance company no longer has to pay you for disability. They're going to retrain you, they're going to put you back out in the workforce, and they're going to make you work in any occupation. So that's a very key difference when you're looking at the options on your disability policy. Now, when it comes to your individually owned personal disability policy, the same rules apply. Generally, you're going to have regular occupation definition for 2 years, and then it can switch to any. Now, you can prevent that from happening, because all you need to do is add the option of saying, okay, I want my regular occupation extended to my entire benefit period. So if you chose a paid to 65 benefit period, you just choose a regular occupation extension to age 65, and therefore the insurance company cannot change the definition of disability to any. And that's really key. Now, there's a third occupation definition that we haven't talked about yet, and it's actually the strongest definition of disability. And if you can get it, I'm going to encourage you that you do get it. However, not every occupation is eligible for it. Because remember, when it comes to regular or any occupation definition of disability, it says that you can't do the regular duties of your job and you're not being paid elsewhere. So if you tried to go work part-time and doing any other job out there, the disability company is going to come in and they're going to say, listen, you're working, we're no longer paying you. And we don't care what you're getting paid. You're working, you're no longer disabled technically. By our definition, your payments stop. Once again, you can prevent this type of thing if you're able to qualify what's called for an own occupation definition of disability. And that is the strongest definition you can get. And this one simply says, all right, I can't do the duties of my own occupation, and for simplicity's sake, let's say a surgeon. So the surgeon hurt his or her hands and she can no longer perform surgery. After the waiting period, she starts claiming her disability. Now, after a period of 1, 2, or 3 years, the surgeon still can't perform her surgeries, but she realizes, or he realizes, that they can still provide a great benefit to medical students by teaching them. And of course, they would be getting paid to teach these medical students. Now, with an own occupation definition, it will allow you to still get paid your disability benefit because they can't be a surgeon anymore, but it will also allow them to continue to get paid elsewhere by doing another job. So an own occupation is the strongest definition of disability because it allows you to get your disability payment, and it can allow you to work somewhere else as well and still get paid. Guys, that's all there is for this week. Next week, we'll continue our discussion on personal disability insurance products. Thanks for seeing us.